All right, everybody, this is Emar Sopachute, the Sports Inquirer, once again, joined by Erin Moss from Georgia Tech Volleyball. Erin, thanks for joining us. We were just joking about your off-the-court activities, but we'll get to your adidas relationship. But for now, let's stick to on the court. How has the season been going overall for the team and your senior campaign as you progress through the ACC season?
I think our season has been going pretty well. I think obviously coming into this season, there have been some high expectations, what are they going to do next, that kind of thing. And I think that we've really just stayed focused and really have done our best to just keep building and keep being consistent and, keep taking care of the business that we should be taking care of. So I think through that, we've really steadily grown and shown some consistency on the court.
Has that been a factor? Last year, he had such a great run and in conference and then in the NCAA tournament, making it all the way to the Elite Eight. Did you notice that extra expectation, or even seeing opponents now facing you now that you are currently put yourself in a top 10, top 15 national ranking?
I think definitely. I mean, this year we've steadily stayed within the top 15, I'm pretty sure. And, there was a whole interview with some of the ACC teams in the beginning of the season, and they were asked, what team are you most excited to play? And so many people's answers were Georgia Tech. And so I think, we're used to sort of having that target on our back, but I think people are really trying to get after us this year. And I think that's really evident in a lot of our games that are really tight, close. People are really playing their best games against us. But that's what really makes it fun and it makes it exciting, especially when you have teams that like really want to play you and that you're that team that has that energy and that fire.
Yeah, and the team reached another milestone a few weeks ago, playing at McCamish Pavilion for the first time in program history. What was that experience like for you? Obviously, on the court, got the loss against Pitt, but just the overall atmosphere and experience of being able to play on that court for the first time.
Playing in McCamish was really amazing. I think, we're all used to playing in O'Keefe. It's always sold out. And we're always just curious about, what really is our potential? What is our capacity? We know the sport's growing. So seeing that, almost the whole bottom bowl of McCamish was full, comparable to a basketball game, that was just so exciting to see that so many people in the tech community in the Atlanta community are excited about volleyball, that, Georgia Tech volleyball is putting out a product that people really want to see and that they get excited about. So hopefully we have more opportunities like that in the future, because the energy in there was great. The fans were great. Just seeing, what Georgia Tech volleyball means to this community meant a lot to me.
Yeah, and you're from the state of Georgia, well, South Georgia, but still, a representative of the Peach State. What was that like for you just seeing that sport, the volleyball, and everyone coming together from the older fans to some of the younger club volleyball players, just being in that one arena for that matchup?
Well, when I started playing volleyball in middle school, 7th grade, that was the very first volleyball program in Valdosta, Georgia at the time. So, coming from very first volleyball program, nobody really knows about volleyball and, if it's really going to be a thing, to now there's 3,000 plus people coming to see us play. There's so many little girls and teams that are coming up to you and telling you how excited they are to come to the games. They're telling you about how their school season's going. They're asking you advice on, club tryouts and things like that. Like, that's so exciting. I was in 7th grade, we didn't have this volleyball team, this like top tier volleyball team in the state, I guess. And to see now from no volleyball at all to, we're a top 10 team, like, it's just amazing to see that.
Yeah, we're back recording. It's a little technical error, but we're all good. But yeah, but no, that was a big moment for you to be representing the state on that grand of a scale. But the team, you lost that contest a bit, but you have rebounded with victories over Clemson and Duke. What about the team just rebounding from that Pitt loss and now finding your form back again these past few matches?
Yeah, for sure. I think, the Pitt game it was really close. And I think that we really battled throughout that game. And I think it really took a lot of heart and a lot of grit for us to come out in that next game against Clemson and say, you know what, like, we just played a great team. It was a tough loss, but we're going to come back and do what we're supposed to do. And I think, we really took care of business there. I think the Duke game in the first two sets, we really came out with some fire. So I think coming off that game, yes, it was disappointing, but, I think we came back and we really showed that, like we're still that team. We can still come out with some energy and fire and do what we're supposed to do.
Yeah, and you individually, you're second on the team in kills and in blocks. What have you just done through the offseason and even through this year to be an elite two-way player for the Yellow Jackets?
Yeah, I think, this year, obviously, we're missing Mariana Brambila, who was our other top scorer last season. And I knew that somewhere we were going to have to pick up some of the kills, some of the offense. So I think I really just dedicated myself to, how can I always be available to my setter? How can I always get up in transition? And I think defense is something that we've been working on for a while. And so, I think that's something that I kind of honed in on is how do I make sure I just get to my feet to the ball? How can I just get a good touch for our defense so that we can keep playing? So I think just recognizing that we were going to have some, not holes necessarily, but we're going to have to pick up somewhere with our offense and just trying to figure out how I can insert myself in there and, make it up for the team.
Yeah, and you mentioned you have a new full-time, well, Bella's been playing a full year now, but coming into the season, a new starter in essence, that setter, some new outsides. How is that you incorporating yourself into the lineup with obviously your new quarterback and really some new outsides that you had to work with?
Well, I mean, at this point, I've been playing with Bella for 3 years,
Yeah.
really. So, and we get a lot of rotation around the gym, and so I think Bella and I already had a great rapport together. Bella, she will say herself, is a middle setter. So obviously, I love that. She's always trying to find me and get me the ball, and I'm always talking to her, and she's very open to feedback. So I think we already had a really great relationship working over the past 2 years, and I think this year she's really stepped up to the plate and really put herself out there and has been asking for a lot of feedback from us and has been really good at taking it. So yeah, I think she's been doing great.
Yeah, and then you also have Breland Morrissette, your fellow middle that you've been playing with for years also. What's that relationship like and having a player like her to work alongside of and to train with and just get better with?
Breland and I are nearly sisters, honestly. She's really like one of my best friends on the team. And every time, we're going against each other in practice, we're always competing. It's like, oh, you're not going to hit this way on me again. Or, you got that one ball, but I bet you're not going to get it again. I mean, Breland and I are always like going after each other, and we're enemies on the court when we're across from each other. But once we get off the court, it's like, hey, on this ball, you probably should have hit that way. Or on this ball, you probably should have fixed it like that. So I think we have a really special relationship where we can be, super competitive and super aggressive with each other, but we're also like working together to help each other. And I think the more we go against each other, the more our games have really built up. And I think that's only been amplified this year because both of us have had to really step up on offensively and defensively. And I think that we've really helped each other, figure it out together.
And what's better, a good kill or a good block as a middle? What do you prefer?
I've got to say a good block. Nothing is more demoralizing than absolutely roofing somebody.
And what's it like being blocked? I'm sure you've had that happen a few times in your career. It happens to everybody. But yeah, what is it though about being blocked or blocking somebody that you mentioned makes it so, I guess, demoralizing or so emotional?
Um, I think the part about being blocked is that sometimes you expect being blocked, and on those you're like, all right, like they got me, or maybe it was a bad set, or like I just couldn't do anything else with the ball. But sometimes it's just like that unexpected block. I mean, when you're going up to hit and you think you see a gap or a
Mhm.
hole, and then all of a sudden, like there's hands and the ball's on the ground. I think that's what's so as a hitter demoralizing because you thought you saw something and then someone just made the better play, and then as a blocker you were the one that made the better play. So I think that's why blocking is just like it's a much better feeling, and I think that's why this year like I'm getting to really really experience that feeling. And the more you get more blocks, the more you're like, okay, how do I do it more? How do I do it more? And blocks really, if you notice in games, are such like energy plays. Like, a hard kill is great, but a good block can really rally up your team for a lot of points, and then you get so fired up behind you.
Is there ever rotation or like before a point takes place where you're like, I might be in trouble here? Just look at the way things are going as far as days. Like the ball's gonna be set to me at this point. I might have some issues. Can you break it down that much within a point before it even begins?
For sure. I'll give you an example. So fourth set of the Duke game, the game's tight. Of course, they're expecting the ball to be set to Julia, so they're going to have the biggest double block set up on her. And so Miss Shelley looks at me and she goes, okay, we're going to run a one, which is, the short set right on Bella. We're going to run a one, and I just need you to swing high and deep, like to one. And in my head, right before the play, we're in serve receive. I'm like, okay, off the ground fast, swing fast, swing high, swing deep. And you just see the ball, coming over to the net is served. And then I see two people ready to come double block me. I was like, oh boy. But you just keep the fundamentals in your head. You don't think, oh man, I'm about to get blocked. You think swing high deep, swing to one. And eventually I got the kill there, but there are some situations where you look and you're like, like this isn't looking too favorable. But you just kind of use the things that the coaches put in your toolbox. So in that case, it was, hitting high hands. For a lot of outsides, it's tooling. Like there's always an option that you can use. And I think as long as you're brave enough to sort of get after it and try your best to do it, then you're going to have a good result.
And now you have Boston College and Syracuse this weekend here at home in Atlanta. How's the week been? You're preparing for these matches and just progressing through the ACC play?
Yeah, I think, historically, Boston College and Syracuse have been tricky teams for us. I think they're teams that if you let them get in the game and play, then, you're going to be in trouble. So I think this week we've really just been focusing on finishing the drill, being really aggressive, and, having that stamina, because they are teams that, if you don't put them away right away, and if you give them life, then you're really going to be in for a battle. So I think this week has just been focusing on being efficient, making sure all of our hitters are ready, making sure our defense is on point, and executing the game plan.
Yeah, and talk to me about this Adidas relationship that you've developed, I guess, through the summer or maybe even through last year. But I saw you made a trip to New York. You're making videos. How did that relationship build and develop, and what's it been like for you putting yourself out there with that brand?
Yeah, so I mean, with the whole onset of the NIL thing, I'm not a huge, I'm on social media, but I wouldn't say, I'm the influencer type or whatever. I wouldn't even characterize myself like that now. But the opportunity really just came to me this summer, and it was really great because Adidas was looking for a group of, I think, 14 or 15 female student athletes as their inaugural NIL group, and that's in honor of the anniversary of Title IX this year. So it was just really great. I got to meet 14 other student athletes from all different ACC schools, and we got to go to New York. We got to meet Billie Jean King. It was just a really awesome experience. It's been really cool working with them so far. They're super chill, and I think they're also about, how can they build a platform for you and your issues, because a lot of their athletes have used the Adidas platform to push their initiatives. So I think working with them on, what is it that I want to put out there? What is it that, I want to pursue? I think they've been really open with that, and it's been a great relationship so far.
Yeah, and I've seen you doing some modeling or promoting some of the shoe brands. I saw literally the day before we're recording this a video on how to do deadlifts. But what about those aspects of your relationship with Adidas, and can we expect to see more of that in the near future?
I sure hope so. I think the deadlift video is actually really interesting. The volleyball rep, I guess, for Adidas was in a meeting, and someone's like, oh, we want to do this little mini series on weightlifting. And she's like, oh, what about a college athlete? Like, I think that'll work. And I think it's really cool, like what they're doing, like getting that opportunity was really awesome, because I think I I think it's really cool to get into that space of, modeling or whatever. It's a fun, fun hobby now. Maybe it might develop into something later. But yeah, I think it was really cool that they're trying to showcase college athletes and get us some notoriety out there and, maybe establish something for the future. But it was super cool doing that.
For those who haven't seen the video yet, what is the biggest, someone who tries to work out myself, what's the most important factor in executing a deadlift?
The most important factor, I say for a deadlift, is probably just keeping your back aligned. But I will say the most important factor for any weightlifting is to just go at your 100 pounds today. Any progress is progress, and just go at your own pace and really focus on having the right techniques.
All right, I'll use that advice when I get back to the gym. Appreciate the time, Erin.
Yeah.
Thank you for talking with us, and good luck the rest of the season, and maybe we'll catch up later on down the line.
Yeah, thanks for having me.